Hello there, everybody. Welcome back to the channel. Today we're going to be watching and reacting to a recent interview, or speech, I should say, a recent speech with Shashi Tharoor. I believe I'm saying that his name correctly. I remember way back in the day, and by way back in the day, I mean like last year, I was calling him Sushi for whatever reason. Sashi. It's Sashi, right? Sashi. Anyways, we're going to watch the speech by Sashi Tharoor that he did over in the US of A here in New York City. Um, I Am I going to be able to react to this? Am I going to be able to react to this? I'm seeing here ANI up here. I mean, I'm watching on the Hindustan Times. I would hope that I'd be able to react to this. It's not ANI's channel. Well, I mean, for those that don't know, there was a pretty big issue going on at the time of recording of this between Mohawk Mongol and ANI. So, yeah, okay. Well, we're gonna risk it, baby, because I wanna hear this speech. Congress MP Sashi Tharoor, who was leading on all-party delegation under Operation Sindoor outreach, hit out at Pakistan while speaking in New York on May 24th during an interaction at the Indian consulate. Tharoor praised India's strike on Pakistan-backed terror camps. He added that India will not be sitting quietly against the forces of evil. Man, that is powerful, huh? Dang, dude. Okay. I'm excited. Link to the video will be in the description down below. So without any further ado, oh, there's even an ANI microphone down here. Uh, we'll be fine. We'll be fine.
First of all,
we'll be fine.
Thank you all for being here. It's amazing on a Saturday night of the Memorial Day weekend that we were able to get such a star turnout, and thank you all for coming. I had a chance to say hello to many of you during the reception, but some of you I haven't.
This man is very well spoken.
Hello and acknowledge with gratitude your presence here this evening. My colleagues and I literally arrived this afternoon, and our first stop was the September 11 memorial.
Oh, that's good.
It was obviously a very moving moment for us, but it was also meant to send a very strong message.
Message to the USA that terrorism needs to be stopped.
In a city which is bearing still the scars of that savage terrorist attack, in the wake of yet another terrorist attack in our own country. Unlike the US, I'm afraid we've had to endure a very much larger number of terrorist attacks in India. But,
yes.
We came both as a reminder that this is a shared problem, but also out of a spirit of solidarity with the victims.
There was a recent terrorist attack in D.C. I'm sure many of you saw that. Between at the it was an Israel museum, correct?
Indians, as Indra was reminding me, a young Indian working in her own company was one of the victims of 9/11.
Wow.
Indians, Americans, and very many other nationalities who were affected. It's a global problem, it's a scourge, and we must all fight it unitedly. So that was a very important message to convey, and my colleagues and I did that by going to the memorial and leaving roses on some of the names around the memorial pool. And having done that, we are now proceeding, as has been mentioned already, to 4 other countries before returning to the US, not to New York, but to Washington, D.C. on the 3rd of June, when Congress will come back from its recess as well. So our idea is very much to speak to a cross-section of public and political opinion in each of the countries we're going.
They're really pushing this HindustanTimes.com up here real hard.
Section of public and political opinion in each of the countries we're going to about recent events which obviously trouble a number of people around the world and which now have subsided. There is a reasonable amount of calm that's reigning on the border between India and Pakistan today, but the fundamental underlying problem remains, and it's important that we try and enlarge your understanding of our thinking and our concerns about what's going on. So it's for us an opportunity. We will be in every country meeting members of the executive, meeting members of the legislature, meeting think tankers and influential foreign policy experts, and at the same time interacting with the media and public opinion in every one of these places. We're on our way to Guyana tonight, where Independence Day celebrations are about to take place, and we'll be seeing the President and the Foreign Minister and members of Parliament there, and we carry on some of the programs.
Guyana
in these other countries.
South
Vinay
America?
had asked me to say a few words about what happened. By way of context, I mean, I think you're all aware that India has tried to be focused on a very different narrative from some of our neighbors. Our focus for some years now has been on being the world's fastest growing free market democracy, attempting to focus on the development of our economy, our high emphasis on technology and technological growth, and pulling large numbers of people from below the poverty line, not just into the 21st century, but into the world and the opportunities that the 21st century offers.
I mean, he's 100% correct in this fact,
we had allowed
in this
ourselves
statement.
in some ways to be complacent may be too unkind a word, but we had not perhaps braced ourselves sufficiently for the malign influences in our neighborhood that did not want that story
They're jealous.
to be told.
Their neighbors are jealous. India's neighbors are jealous of the progress that India has.
An uninterrupted manner. We had been seeing in Jammu and Kashmir, which, as you know, has for the long time been coveted by our neighbors on the other side, Pakistan. We had been seeing not just peace, but increasing prosperity. In fact, Vinay gave me this wonderful nugget that the number of tourists in Kashmir last year was double the number of tourists in Aspen, Colorado last year. So that was the kind of of not just normalcy, but growth, prosperity.
That is pretty normal, because I mean, if you look at it from the outside, you think, oh, it's a contested area between two nations. There's like a military line of control, and it's like, oh, okay, tourists must not go there. People must not travel there. But no, in fact, from everything I've seen, it's very thriving in the tourist industry. People go there to pray, just to enjoy the absolutely beautiful views as well, the vistas. There's a lot of things you can do up there. I had a buddy that recently went up in that area for vacation, just like a week before the Pahalgam attack as well. So, I mean, when the Pahalgam attack happened, I was very scared for him. But yeah, I mean, there is a sense of peace, especially in the Indian area that's still under India, and that's not being occupied by Pakistan or China.
People of Kashmir were enjoying as Indians and foreigners were flocking to Kashmir for tourism. So some people decided that they would want, first of all, to attack that process of normalization. Second, to undermine the overall Indian narrative as well as the prosperity of the people of Kashmir. Third, by doing so in an atrocious manner, that is, it was not just a terrorist attack of somebody indiscriminately blowing up people with a bomb, it was a bunch of people going around identifying the religion of the people before them and killing them on that basis, which was clearly intended to provoke a backlash in the rest of India, since the victims were overwhelmingly Hindu. In fact, 26 people died, 25 Indians and 1 Nepalese, and the Nepalese happened, of course, didn't get a chance to say he was Nepalese, but he was a Hindu, so he would have probably been killed anyway. And quite astonishingly, one person who wasn't killed was a Hindu professor who happened to be able to recite the Kalima, the first verse of the Quran.
I remember reading about this. Man, just he was like napping under a tree, and he heard a lot of commotion, and he woke up, and there was a one of these men, with a gun in front of him, and the people around him were reciting the Quran, so he joined in, quickly, and when the terrorist moved on, he got up quickly and got out of there with his family.
And therefore was not shot, which is a very interesting message. And it was very, very clearly, I mean, for us, it was not that there was any doubt about the motives of these people, but it was particularly driven home. In many cases, the husband was shot and the wife was told to convey the message back that he was shot for his faith. And I'm very proud as an Indian to say that that did not happen, that there was no backlash, that Indians held together unitedly in the face of this atrocity.
Many
The
Indians.
Kashmiris,
This did bring a lot of
who are
people together.
overwhelmingly Muslim, as you know, were not just completely distraught by what happened, but there was public rejection of this. The next day, the entire state downed its shutters. There was a public observance of support and solidarity for the victims. The State Assembly as well, all shades of political opinion. One of the victims, I should have added, was a Kashmiri Muslim pony operator who attempted not just to save the lives of his customers, but to snatch the Kalashnikov of one of the killers, and it was turned against him. But others, I mean, I had a victim from my state of Kerala, who was a 61-year-old man who was walking in the meadow with his youngish daughter and her twin sons, aged 6, when they shot him. And I went to his home and called on his widow and his daughter and grandchildren. And it was very, very moving when this girl said that though she lost her father that day, she found 2 brothers. And the 2 brothers were 2 Kashmiri Muslim men who took her to safety, protected her sons, and eventually then accompanied her to the mortuary to identify her father's body and bring it back. So I give these examples just to say there was an extraordinary amount of togetherness cutting across religious and other divides that people had tried to provoke. But the message was very clear.
That is the strength, that is the beauty of India is even though there's so many people and they can be so culturally different, even just within a few kilometers of each other, the borders, the different states can be very, very culturally different. In times of need, they still come and band together. That's one of the beauties of India.
Was a malign intent that I've just spelled out for you, and India sadly had no reason to doubt where it came from, because within 1 hour of the atrocity, a group called the Resistance Front had claimed credit. The Resistance Front was known for some years to be a frontal organization of the banned, proscribed Lashkar-e-Taiba, which is on the US designated terror list as well as the UN sanctions committees. And India had gone to the UN sanctions committee with information about the Resistance Front in 2023 and in 24, and now sadly it had acted in 25. They repeated their claim the next day until, of course, global condemnation, I think, woke their handlers up to the dangers as represented, and then they deleted their claim on the 3rd day. But by then, the claim had been made, recorded, registered, and reported.
Where did they place the claim?
And
like
for us,
online,
therefore,
on Twitter or something?
The culpability lay not just with the 4 or 5, we're not 100% sure, evil killers who came to Pahalgam and did this atrocity, but also with those who had sent them, financed them, equipped them, trained them, guided them into doing this. And since we knew where Lashkar-e-Taiba is headquartered, it has its not just a safe haven, but a rather generous 200-acre campus in a city in the heartland of Pakistani Punjab, we also knew where the responsibility lay. Sadly, Pakistan
It's pretty
chose
clear where
to
the
follow
responsibility
its usual
was.
path of denial. In fact, Pakistan, with the help of China, succeeded in removing a reference to the resistance front from the resolution of condemnation that was drafted in the Security Council, the press statement actually, not resolution,
I didn't know
the
this.
Security Council of the UN 2 days later. But though the name was not mentioned, it was, as I said, a matter of public record, and we knew what was happening. India replied immediately that we would not let this go unanswered. I don't work for the government. As you know, I work for an opposition party, but I myself authored an op-ed in one of India's leading papers, the Indian Express, within a couple of days, saying the time had come to hit hard but hit smart. And I'm pleased to say that's exactly what India did. On the night of the 6th, 7th of May, it was 6th here, it was 7th for us, at 1:05 in the morning, a time chosen deliberately to avoid any risk of too many civilians wandering about or any collateral damage, very precise and calibrated strikes took place on 9 specific known terrorist bases, headquarters, and
This was a
launch
very,
pads.
very
Those
successful
included those of the
counter
Lashkar-e
to these
Taiba
terrorist
based on
camps.
Muridke, those of the Jaish-e-Mohammed, the organization that is responsible, amongst other things, for the murder of Daniel Pearl, some of you knew in New York, and others, Jaish-e-Mohammed in Bahawalpur, and in Muzaffarabad, which is in Pakistan, the Pakistani-occupied part of Kashmir, there were no less than 3 different terror organizations which had their bases there, Harkatul Ansar, Harkatul Mujahideen, others. And so India sent a clear message, number one, that it was not going to take terror lying down, it would answer, but equally that by delivering very precisely calculated, calibrated strikes on very specific targets, it was also sending a message that this was not meant to be the opening salvo in a protracted war, but just an act of retribution.
And
we
yet,
were prepared to stop with that act.
And yet, at the same time, Pakistan decided to stand up and, for whatever reason, well, we know the reason, they decided to strike back in revenge for these terrorist camps that got destroyed.
I mean, not just in other words, it was officially conveyed. There is a regular hotline between the 2 Directors General of Military Operations. The message was conveyed that this was the intent, that it was pointed out that no military targets, no civilian targets, and no governmental targets had been hit, not even by accident, and that the message, therefore, had been delivered exactly and precisely to the terrorists and their handlers. Nonetheless, Pakistan chose to respond, I'm sorry to say, with indiscriminate shelling across the border the very first day and night, which sadly
that did kill,
killed
a lot
19
of people.
civilians.
Yeah. Wow.
And injured grievously 59 others,
Wow.
including Carmelite nuns in a convent, Sikhs worshipping in a Gurudwara, and others who happened to simply be in the line of fire because they lived in districts adjoining the Pakistani border. When this happened, India had no choice but to retaliate in kind. The matters got worse the next day as the Pakistanis followed up artillery shelling with a serious invasion of drones and missiles. India's air defenses were able to hold them off, but in turn, India returned the compliment, and on the night of 9th, 10th May, India hit 11 Pakistani military targets, including a rather well-known air base that's just 1.5 kilometers away from military headquarters of Pakistan in Rawalpindi. The following morning, we got a call, or our Director General of Military Operations got a call from the Pakistani Director General of Military Operations saying they'd like to stop this. And we said, we've been saying all along, We didn't want to start anything. We were just sending a message to terrorists. You started, we replied. If you stop, we'll stop. And they stopped. There was an 88-hour war. We look back on that with a great deal of frustration, because it needn't have happened at all. Lives have been lost. But at the same time, we look back on this experience with a steely and renewed sense of determination. There has now got to be a new normal. No one sitting in Pakistan is going to be allowed to believe that they can just walk across the border and kill our citizens with impunity. There will be a price to pay, and that price has been going up systematically. I'll just take you briefly through what happened. You may remember in 2015, well, you may not remember because this is our problem, not yours, but in 2015, in January, there was an attack on an Indian air base, a place called Pathankot. And our Prime Minister had just made a goodwill visit to Pakistan the previous month. On the 25th of December, he'd attended the birthday celebrations of then Pakistan Prime Minister Nawaz Sharif, whose granddaughter's wedding was on the same day. He'd given gifts. So when this happened, he was so astonished that he actually called the Pakistani Prime Minister and said, "Why don't you join the investigation? Let's solve who's doing this." And the Pakistani, you can imagine the horror of the Indian military establishment at this idea that Pakistani investigators are going to come to an Indian airbase. But they came. And they went back to Pakistan and said, "Oh, the Indians did it to themselves." That was the last straw.
I'm at a loss of words on that.
I mean, it was just we'd already gone through the horrors of 2008 in Mumbai when 170 people had been killed, and the Pakistani denials at that time were laid bare not just by the fact that we caught one of the terrorists alive and his identity, his address, his family, etc., were identified in Pakistan, but equally because that drama took place over 3 days, during which Western intelligence agencies trained their recording devices, amongst other things, on Pakistani, the chilling voice of the Pakistani handler, giving minute-by-minute instructions to the killers in Mumbai. So the evidence was there, there'd been denial, and that denial was proven to be completely false. And as you know, thereafter, the Pakistanis claimed not to know where Osama bin Laden was until he was found in a safe house right next to an army cantonment. In a city dominated by the army. This is Pakistan, and I'm afraid for us, 2015 was the last opportunity for them to behave.
It is so clear what the true nature of Pakistan is, and yet the world turns a blind eye towards them. Or away from them. I don't know how that saying goes. The world turns a blind eye to Pakistan. It's very upsetting. It's very upsetting.
To cooperate. This
is important that he's here
about
in New York speaking the truth like this.
And since they did not do it in January, in September 2015, there was another attack in a place called Uri, also not far from the border, and this time India breached the line of control which we had rigorously observed throughout. In every previous skirmish, we had never crossed the line of control. We crossed it with a surgical strike in September of 2015. That seemed to calm things down a bit, but unfortunately in January of 2019 there was another terror attack in a place called Pulwama, killing 40 Indians at that point. And then India responded not just by breaching the line of control, but also breaching the international border and striking with our Air Force a known terror training camp in a place called Balakot. Now we have not just crossed the LOC, we have also crossed the international border. We have hit Pakistan in their heartland. And we have done so, as I say, only to send a message about terror. We are not interested, and we still remain absolutely clear that we are not interested in warfare with Pakistan. We would much rather be left alone to grow our economy and pull our people into the world that they're getting ready for in the 21st century. We have no desire to have anything that the Pakistanis have. Sadly, we may be a status quo power, they are not. They are a revisionist power, they covet territory that India controls, and they want to have it at any price. And if they can't get it through conventional means, they're willing to get it through terrorism. That is not acceptable to us, and that's really the message that we are here to give all of us, all of you in this country and elsewhere. We are determined now that there's got to be a new bottom line to this. We have tried everything, international dossiers, complaints to sanctions committee, diplomacy, even this joint investigation attempt, everything has been tried. Pakistan has remained in denial. There has been absolutely no conviction, no serious criminal prosecution, no attempt to dismantle the terror infrastructure in that country, and the persistence of safe havens. So from our point of view, this is it. You do this, you're going to get this back. And we have demonstrated with this operation that we can do it with a degree of precision and with a degree of restraint that the world, we hope, will understand. We have a right to self-defense. We've exercised that right. We have not done so irresponsibly, and we have not done so in a way that would have warranted a wider conflagration. That's really the message I wanted to give you all today. I'm sure you have questions and comments, and my colleagues
very, very good message.
represent, as I say, 4 parties amongst the 5 of us, and there's a wide span of views. We're all happy to join in conversation with you. Thank you all very much once again for coming and being with us today. Jai Hind.
Very, very, very important message there. And he's 100% right. He laid bare that, the world needs to see what, the true colors of Pakistan are. The world needs to see that, this Pakistan is a terrorist hub, and something needs to be done about it. I hope that, this message gets across to the right people. But who knows? Who knows? I want to see the top comments here. Finally, Shashi emerged to full power, voice for India. He's one of the most elegant persons one will ever come across. It's a pleasure to listen to him. This is India as together united. Fantastic, very proud of Mr. Tharoor, undoubtedly the best and most articulate speaker for India. Now I feel we are united. We are the states of Bharat. Dr. Tharoor is a real statesman who led to U.S., presented the stand of India in a dignified way. Wow, what an elegant, clear statement from India. Great Shashi Tharoor, sir. I fail to understand what is holding you to Congress. He's in Congress. That's why he's in the position to speak for the country in spite of his differences with his ruling dispensation on several other matters. A congressman has his country first, and then comes other silly aspects like religion, etc. Are you joking? Wait and see what happens when he returns. Thank you, sir. Thank you. Beautifully delivered, strong, precise. India is truly proud of you. Message delivered, clear and loud. You give us, and we will give you back. Salute, sir. My English lecturer at Calcutta University during the 80s. Oh, wow. What a gem we have in India with Mr. Shashi Tharoor. Right man in the wrong party. Excellent, clear, beautiful articulation of India's position. Extraordinary work, excellent speech, absolutely brilliant. Thank you. Thank you. Lots of thanks. Jai Hind. Let's see some of the newer comments, what they could be. Great speech, excellent, highly responsible and mature presentation. Excellent speech. The speech is so great, very well spoken. I don't find anyone is BJP who can talk flawlessly and convey such a clear message. I'm sure there is. Indian country is made of lies and killing minorities in India. Wow. Okay. Okay. India's asset, Kerala's pride. We have some Malayalam here. Something about idiot Congress. They keep the box of gold for retail. Idiots Congress. What does that mean? I don't know. I don't know. Shame on this guy for white lies. Now say it again without crying. USA doesn't even take India serious now. Jokers. What? What? We were proud of you. Jai Hind. And US, nobody bothers what he has to say. Media conference without much US media, but only anchor. We got to make sure that it's spread. We just got to keep continuously speaking the truth, you know? That's what's going to have to happen. We have to keep continuously speaking the truth, no matter the obstacles. Elegance, when combined with service to nation, shines like a diamond. No one will listen now. India and Modi needs to behave. What? I don't know. Together we stand. Together we win. Okay. I think you understand. I think you get it. Great speech. Very, very important speech. And again, I hope that it reaches the right audience. I hope that it reaches, um, you know, people in higher up in the U.S. and something needs to be done. Something needs to be done. Something needs to be done. The link to the speech will be in the description down below. Make sure to go and check it out. Thank you for watching as well. I greatly, greatly appreciate you being here, and I hope you enjoyed my reaction commentary for this channel, for this video, and any other videos that I make. So, like, comment, subscribe. I'll catch you on the next one, okay? I really hope this reaches the right people.